Hi everyone, on today's Comics, Cartoons, and Coffee, I will be taking a look at Norfrica. Not only is this the latest release from the Rippaverse, it was actually written by Rippaverse founder Eric July himself. And I want to take a deep dive into it because, this is my vidcast where I talk about, well, comics, cartoons, all while enjoying a delicious brew. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome back to the StudioJake vidcast and this latest edition of Comics, Cartoons, and Coffee. I hope that you are excited because today I'm going to be reviewing Norfrica, but also talking about some of the influences of it that at least I see. This is my own sort of look at it, and also talking about the song that got the whole Norfrica movement going. And so to begin, I'm going to be reading my review, which you can find on my website, studiojakemedia.substack.com. You can find all of my reviews of the Rippaverse releases there. I have done every single one, even a few of the Rippasend versions, so I think you will like it. As for today, I am reviewing Norfrica, Glorious Death. Norfrica Glorious Death is a Rippaverse release that fans have been awaiting. It is written by Eric July and drawn by Ronaldson Ferrer. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it is ushered in by a song performed by July and Dan Vask, which I will link to my review of the song in the comment section of this video. Before his Flores Park debut, Valadin lived in a realm known as Asgarth. There, his father, Arthorde, rules with benevolence. They find themselves on the brink of war against the Jotunheimel realm, forcing them to cross paths with the help of Engraja. But a warrior called Celicio from the realm of Muspelheimel has plans to cause trouble. And again, I hope I'm pronouncing these correctly. Please let me know in the comment section below if I am not. The artwork captures the wonder and power of these worlds. I liked the combination of science fiction and fantasy style that Ferrer used to capture them. I also liked the character illustrations. The protagonists and antagonists look incredible and alive. The artwork definitely pulls you in. My only issue with the release is that I would have liked a glimpse of the band. They were featured in other Rippaverse comics, including an interview in the Rippazine. A simple flashback or flash forward would have been a nice addition. Outside of that, I am glad July is back in the seat. I enjoyed his work on Isom, Salvage, and now Norfrica. He is underrated as a writer and storyteller, as his tales show. I like seeing Valadin witness the troubles brewing in his realm, and I cannot wait to see how his story evolves, especially when he meets Takari. It is not just him, but the other characters, both hero and villain, that make it work. The plot is also pretty exciting, with character growth, excellent battles, and a lot of intrigue that any reader will enjoy. If you enjoy your fantasy mixed with a little sci-fi, I have no doubt you will want it for your collection. And for myself, I had 4 covers to choose from. That's usually how the Rippaverse goes. And I decided to go with cover D. I think it really is neat. It really captures Valadin and his family. I think it works well for the realm, and it does. Now, there's a lot of great ones. There's one that features Valadin and Takari together. However, they do not appear together in this comic. And that's not really a spoiler. You definitely feel Takari's presence, but I have a feeling he's going to be coming along pretty soon. Now, continuing on, I really was looking forward to Norfrica. I was very excited ever since I saw the band perform in the early Isom issues, and like I said, their interview in the Rippazine. I really think that they have so much potential. I mean, who doesn't like 2 immortals who, for whatever reason, decide to leave their immortal thrones and instead become a rock band? I mean, that is pretty cool. And one thing that Eric July has always, brought attention to on his podcast For Canon's Sake is how Hollywood writers, they either want to take a moment in African history and either rewrite it in some bland sort of white liberal fan fiction, or they butcher it altogether. So he really did his research in creating Takari, and I can't wait to see how that character transpires in the Norfrica comic series. Now, I wasn't expecting Eric July to go the route of a prequel. When I first heard Norfrica was going to be released, or Norfrica Glorious Death, as its proper name is, I thought what they were going to do was Eric July was going to write a story about this traveling band of immortals, and we were going to, through flashbacks, see what transpired and why they became this band. But instead, we get kind of an early origin for Valadin in this one. And it is a very exciting story. Valadin is a very compelling character. You can definitely see the Norwegian and Danish mythology tied into it. You can definitely see the influence of the Nordic sort of mythology that inspires it. And I also like that he doesn't just copy it, he definitely takes a lot from the idea of how the universe is made in Nordic mythology, but then he kind of makes it his own. And that was really cool. So, what I hope what Eric July does for Norfrica issue 2, which I really hope comes very soon, is that we get that from Takari's perspective. So, instead of doing a direct sequel to Norfrica, he does Norfrica Glorious Death 2, and that is what transpires in this one from Takari's perspective. We see what happens at the same time. So a sequel that happens in the same time frame as the first issue, and then 3 can bring us in to how they met. And that creates a more broader mythology, in my opinion. Now, obviously, I am not a published comic book writer or artist. I'm not an artist at all, in fact, but I have published 4 novels, and I'm not one of these people who's trying to tell Eric July what to do. You know, you should listen to me because XYZ. That's not what I'm doing. I am just, as a fan of the Rippaverse, saying what I would like to see and that I think it would be cool. However, I'm not the only fan out there. If you're a fan of the Rippaverse, I would love to hear your perspective. Would you just like to see a continuation? Would you like to see the band be on the road? Would we like to see the formation of the band? And I do think that is coming either in another Norfrica issue or in some Rippazine kind of format. Whatever the case may be, I think that it would be really cool to see how they got together. And I'm not really that familiar with African mythology. I know a little bit about it, but I'm excited to see how Eric July's take on it is going to expand because, like Europe, Africa doesn't have just one mythology. Different areas, different regions have their own mythology. Certainly, Egyptian mythology is very different than sub Saharan Africa or a land like Ethiopia. Those mythologies are going to be different because they're different tribes, they're different people, no different than how it was in Europe. Nordic mythology is definitely different than Celtic mythology, and while there are some rhymings there, it is kind of a very contrasting view of the world and how mythology works. This is certainly true in Asian mythology. Chinese mythology is very different from Japanese mythology or even Korean, despite all of them being neighbors. So I'm really curious to see how Norfrica is going to use those themes from African mythology in order to bring it together. That is going to be something exciting, and personally, I can't wait to see it. I also love how this universe all started from a song from Glorious Death. Eric July and Dan Vash, they definitely nailed it as far as that concern is. They are fantastic singers and musicians. You know, I really love Dan Vash's rock versions of different hymns and different songs. I really like Backwards, which is Eric July's band. I like their take. I really like their song White Pilled, and I'm very excited to see how Glorious Death is going to have an impact on the Rippaverse, especially in Flores Park, Texas. This is going to be a really fantastic series. I have high hopes for it, and I am very excited for what is happening. A lot of people criticize Eric July's writing. I never really understood Is he the greatest writer who ever lived in the comic book world? No, but I feel like even with Isom, which I really enjoyed the first Isom, again, I don't know why people think he's a bad writer. I think he's a good writer. I feel like he's gotten better. I feel like going from Isom 1, 2, 3 to the Ripazine shorts that he's written, to his short story in Saints and Sinners, and finally to Norfrica, I think it's all built out really well. It's all been updated really well, and we've been taken to this point as fans, and I cannot wait to see what is in store. For those of you wondering, I'm just having a basic coffee today. Thank you so much for watching today's edition of Comics, Cartoons, and Coffee. If you liked that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment to what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider checking out my community post section where I post links to my Substack, including my review for Norfrica. Speaking of which, if you would like to support me in the work that I do, head on over to my website, studiojakemedia.substack.com. You'll find the link in the description of the video. It is where you can find so much more reviews and commentaries. You can subscribe at different tiers that unlock different perks, including being able to pick the topic for the website or even here on the vidcast. And the video goes to both the YouTube channel and the Rumble channel, so you get to pick it if you subscribe at one of those tiers. Thank you in advance. On my website, there's a conveniently titled Buy My Books section. You can pick up one or all 4 of my novels. I've got links all over the place, but you can find all 4 on Amazon.com. I hope you pick them up. Leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching this edition of the StudioJake vidcast, Comics, Cartoons, and Coffee. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time right here on StudioJake.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH, country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where I want to visit. Are you alive? Or just breathing? 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCH, country limit. I don't need a guide, follow lights, take me where.
Good Java.